The beauty of trading card games is there's so many ways to play with so many different types of cards. Do you like to play extremely aggressive and try to go for the juggler as soon as possible? Maybe you like to play more of a grind game, maybe mental warfare, drain your opponent out. Or maybe you like to control the tides of battle, have assets that you can use while eliminating your opponents. If that sounds like you, the latter, then enter Z. My name is Ryan, aka Blackbeard TCG, and today we'll be talking about Z. I'm rhyming accidentally. But yeah, in all seriousness, today we are talking about Z. He has been revealed, and before I get into anything in particular, let's go ahead and talk about the stats of this card first. Now, right off the bat, you guys see that he is purple and black. This makes him the first purple and black card that we have in our game. I think all of set 1 and set 2. Yeah, he's the only card that's been revealed because there's no black in set 1. And in set 2, we only have the black starter deck. And yeah, so he's the only one, which makes him unique in that sense. And because he's dual colored, he has a life of 4, which we've seen in other dual colored cards like Traffy, Luffy, Kaido, and Crocodile, who have been revealed in set 1. They all have 4 life, so I guess that's just a trend going forward. You know, having the ability to play cards from 2 different colors. The payoff is, or the payback, I guess, or what's the right word? The repercussions, the downside. There we go. English is hard, guys. The downside is having 1 less life. Now, in terms of his power, he has 5k power, which is average. Only other person that has more would be Whitebeard, which nobody else has up until this point. But what Z's ability is, well, first and foremost, he has the tags Film and Neo Marines or Neo Navy. And I've seen some people asking like, oh, does this mean that, you know, could he use things like Marine Ford, right? Because it has Navy, right? Like, or it has Marines, they have to have that tag. Now, I think that that's not going to be the case because, you know, similar to how things work in, let's say, Yu-Gi-Oh, for example, there's Beast Warrior and there's Warrior, right? Like Warriors can only be used for Warriors and Beast Warrior is completely separate. So I feel like that's going to be the same thing. Neo Marine and Marine, Neo Navy, Navy is going to be completely different. So, you know, unless I'm wrong, let me know in the comment sections below. I'm pretty sure you would not be able to use Marine Ford with Z. But in terms of his ability, by giving up 4 of your Dawn, returning them back to your Dawn deck, you can KO 1 card that your opponent has, or 1 character card that your opponent has, with a cost of 3 or less, and then you get to pump him up to 6k. He gets a 1k boost. So if you guys remember the sequence of operations in this game, once you swing, your while attacking effect activates, so then you have the option to then use the effect, return back 4 Dawn, pop a card, and then you get the 1k boost, so then your swing goes through and you're at 6k. So just remember that, because at first I was reading and I was like, wait, why would you swing and then get 6k and then it ends at the end of your turn? But I was like, oh, right, that's not how the order of operations work in this game. So that's one thing I want to point out, just in case if you guys are dumb like me and you didn't realize that right off the bat. Okay, so those are the stats. Now I want to talk to you guys about my thoughts on the card. And I think that he's really cool. I think he's really interesting. And like I talked about a little bit in the intro, I feel like he really brings a control aspect to the game. You know, there's things like Sakazuki, obviously, Akainu, who is going to be in the starter deck, who has the ability to pop cards. But I feel like you'd be able to pop cards so much easier with Z, obviously at the cost of having 1 less life. Because you're able to pop a card once it's at a cost of 3 and not having it to be 0, you have access to doing a lot more interesting things and getting things off the board a lot sooner. Let's talk about some cards in black that can really help you with this strategy, because obviously that's what black wants to do, which is why he has black and purple. If we take a look at Toshigi, in the main phase, you can go ahead and rest Toshigi and give one of your opponent's characters -2 to their costs. That alone will allow you to do some shenanigans. You have things like Hina. If you decide to play it on play, you can give it a -4. So imagine they have the 8 cost kid. You're able to use Hina. If you already had a Toshigi on your board from the turn prior, you can go ahead and tap your Toshigi, and then all of a sudden that 8 cost kid is now in range for it to be popped, right? So you have things like that. You also have things like Sengoku, right? Where whenever Sengoku swings, you can give one of your opponent's character -4. So you have ways to manipulate cards to get them down to that 3 range. Anything that is 7 or below can be in really big threat range with Sengoku, with Hina. So being able to completely pop those is great. Obviously, you can pop blockers every single time you're swinging with this effect alone, but you're going to have to give up 4 Dawn, right? That is the cost, and 4 Dawn is pretty big, especially when we don't have things like Onigashima to allow us to continuously get value and continuously get that Dawn every single turn. So obviously having access to purple, you'd think, okay, what other tools can we have in order to generate that Dawn, right? So we have things like Ein, who on play you can add 1 Dawn from your Dawn deck and rest it as a 4-drop. You have things like Ulti as well, where on play you can also do the same thing. So there's going to be ways for us to try to accelerate our Dawn curve so we're able to get this effect live. Obviously you're going to get 2 more Dawn back on your next turn as well, so it's not the end of the world, it's not the end of everything. I feel like at first I was looking at the cost of 4 being a lot, but then I said obviously it's purple, so there's going to be ways in order to get more Dawn. And I'm sure we're going to get more cards in purple. We're going to get more Neo Navies, more Neo Marines that are going to hopefully allow us to get more Dawn generation a lot quicker, obviously because we don't have access to Onigashima. And then that's when I could see that this -4 is actually not that bad, and you're going to be able to get through a lot of stuff very, very quickly. So again, kind of like I talked about in the beginning, if you want to control the board, if you want to pop things, you don't want to deal with blockers, no problem. That 8-drop kid, no problem. You're going to have ways to deal with these cards, get those problematic cards on board. Doesn't matter how much power they have, if you can lower their cost and then pop them afterwards. Let me know what you guys think about Z. Do you think that he's interesting? Do you think that he'll see play? Do you think that he's going to be more niche, or do you think that he could potentially be meta? Let me know in the comment section below. I'm excited to see what you guys think. Make sure to like, subscribe. English is hard. I already said that once. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, share it with a friend, because if you don't, your devil fruit is going to get snatched, and you don't want that to happen. Peace.